Other class, it's Faisal coming at you with your class of the day for May 15th for ENG4C, grade 12 college prep. So first of all, it has come to my attention that today's Friday, Monday is Victoria Day, right? Meaning that it is a public holiday. So what that means is that we have the day off then. And I know what you're thinking. Well, what's the difference? You're going to be at home on Monday and you're going to be at home today. What's the difference? Well, officially it's a public holiday, so there will be no video or class or anything assigned to you on Monday, right? And I know it's a difficult time, but hopefully we can all at least, communicate with our families and everything like that over this weekend, right? So Monday is going to be Victoria Day. So that's for starters here. Now, second item on our agenda. Today, the paragraphs are due. Let me know if you need more time, right? Because I am willing to give you that, but they are due today, and you hand them in through Google Classroom, right? So you just go there, and you'll see Faisal posted a new assignment. You click there, right? And you'll turn it in, right? So it shows you this for as a teacher, but for you guys, I guess you hit classwork, paragraph of the week, and you submit it through there. Now, please, I am requesting that everyone hand it in through Google Classroom, right? Because Google Classroom is very compatible with Google Documents. Microsoft Word doesn't work as well, right? So if you wrote them in Microsoft Word, that's fine. Just copy and paste them into a Google document and send that to me, just because it's much easier to mark with a Google document than it is with a Microsoft Word document, all right? So if you can, please try to hand it in with a Google document into Google Classroom. If there are any problems handing anything in, you can get in touch with me, and we will sort out any problems that you might have. So, that brings us to our next thing, which is going to be short stories. Now, the goal of our short story unit is going to be boosting reading comprehension skills, right? Making sure that you're understanding everything that you read. And we're also going to be looking at boosting your critical thinking skills and analytical skills. What I mean by that is I want you to not just be telling me this is what happened in a story, but also telling me things like, why things happened in a certain way, why the author wrote things in a certain way, or why you think this character in the story was right rather than that character, right? I want you to be thinking about some big ideas. All right, so that's going to be our sort of goal for the short stories that we'll be handling next week. We're going to be looking to do about 4 short stories, right? One a day, between now and the next Friday, I guess you could say. And I was thinking about how I want to evaluate you guys, right? I could have just made it so that you guys write just another set of paragraphs, but I was thinking that's kind of repetitive, right? But, well, normally I would have you guys write a test, right? That's what I normally do with short stories if it's a physical classroom and everything like that. But obviously, right now, there's no class, so we've got to improvise. So here's what I was thinking. Each story that I give you, starting with the one I'm about to give you now, I'm going to have you answer one big question, right? And this will be a question you answer in about 4 to 6 sentences, similar, literally like a short answer on a test, right? And I'll give you some examples next video of how we're going to do this. But it's going to be about 4 to 6 sentences for each of these questions, and I will mark each of these out of 5, right? So there'll be 4 stories. Each of them has 1 question, right? Each of them has 5 marks attached to it, and we'll split it down. 3 marks for your content, your argument, your evidence, and 2 marks for spelling and grammar, right? So nice and straightforward. So you'll get 5 marks in total. You'll do it 4 times. The whole thing will be out of 20, right? And that's what we'll call a test, right? So instead of just, giving you paragraphs to write or whatnot, it'll be 1 short answer a day, right? And you will all add up to 4 questions, 5 marks each out of 20. That's your test, right? So let's try to do it that way, and we'll see how well that works. Now, wait, when will this be due? Well, good question, Dragos. Uh, it will be due on May 25th, right? Go up here. So it'll be due on May 25th, right, which is the Monday after next, right? So all 4 questions will be collected then, right? Because my plan is one short story on for today, which we'll read on Tuesday, another short story for Wednesday. We have our meeting on Wednesday. And then the next 2 short stories will be Thursday and Friday, right? So that's the order we're going to go in, right? So everything will be due on the Monday after next. But well, meow. What if I fall behind and I don't do a story one day? You're gonna have to catch up in that case, right? So if you don't do Tuesday's story, right, I'm still gonna assign another one on Thursday and Friday, right? So the smartest way to go about this is to make sure you keep up. That said, if you do fall behind, you can still always catch up, right? So that's how we're. Ow, hey, watch it. That's how we're going to go about it. Meow. But I'm lazy and I don't want to do that many. Well, too bad. You're going to have to do that many because if you don't give me one of the stories, if you only answer 3 of the questions, then, well, for the 4th story, you'll get 0. All right? So you should know that. Meow. Okay, I won't be a lazy cat. Good. Don't be a lazy cat. And you guys out there, also don't be a lazy cat, right? Make sure you keep up with the things. If there's a delay in any of your questions, I will, of course, work with you. But you should know it's much harder to do one story and one question in one day than it is to do 4 stories and 4 questions in half a day, right? So you don't want to let this stuff pile up. Okay? Meow. Yes, that's true. All right. So, about short stories themselves, and what we're going to be really looking for, like I said, we're going to be focusing on not just reading comprehension, but analysis, right? So it's not going to be just about telling me what happened, but also figuring out why it happened and what we think of it. And I should also add, we'll be discussing things like theme, symbolism, right? And other literary terms, right? But the way I approach short stories is my first thing is I want you guys to enjoy them and appreciate them for what they are, right? So that's sort of my approach to everything. So before we dive into our short stories, I'm going to start you guys out with 4 bits of vocabulary, right? Our first word is protagonist, right? So when you hear me talking about stories, you're going to often hear me say that word protagonist, and you should know what that word means. It's the main character of the story. It's the person who the story is about. It's not the good guy, right? If you have kids, which I know most of you do, right, you might be saying to them, oh, well, this guy's the good guy of the story and that person's the bad guy. No, that's not how short stories work. It's not about whether you're good or you're bad. A protagonist is the person who the story is about, right? It's doesn't matter if they're a good person or a bad person, right? Same thing with the word antagonist, right? That means the character opposed to the main character, but that doesn't mean bad guy, right? So it just means the person opposed to the main character. There are plenty of stories and TV shows even that are about uh, you know, bad people, right? One of my favorite series is Breaking Bad, right? And the protagonist of that is Walter White, who cooks methamphetamine for a living. So, you know, that's he's still the protagonist. Another word we're going to be talking about is foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is when there's a hint of something that's going to happen later on, right? So, if any of you like murder mystery stories, right, and you see a character who has a knife or something. This is a pen, but not. It has a knife, right? That's foreshadowing that they might stab someone later, right? So that's what foreshadowing is, right? And we'll be talking about that quite a bit in our stories. Another word, climax. that's the part of the story where the conflict is resolved. I'll talk more about this later because it's easier to understand when you have an actual story to talk about. But it's a simple way that many teachers will put it is it's the sort of most exciting part of the story. It's the part where, things get solved one way or the other. So we'll talk a little bit more in detail about this next video. And then finally, there's setting, which is the time and place where a story is taking place. All right, so those are my 5 words that I want you to know for starters. So, our first short story that I am linking to in the classroom, right? I'm going to post a PDF, is a story called The Flying Machine. So, this is a work of historical fiction. And historical fiction means it's based on historical ideas and historical time periods, but it's still fiction, right? So if I were to write a story about, a brave knight in, I don't know, Syria during the Middle Ages, right? If I were to write about a warrior in Syria during the Middle Ages, right? I could write about that, but that doesn't mean it actually happened, right? So that's what historical fiction is. And this particular story is written by a guy named Ray Bradbury, right? So he is our first our first author here. So let's let's take a look at what is going on here. I'm just going to read the first little bit, and then it'll be up to you guys to read the rest. So, in the year AD 400, the Emperor Yuan held his throne by the Great Wall of China, and the land was green with rain, readying itself toward the harvest. At peace, the people in his dominion neither too happy nor too sad. Early on the morning of the first day of the first week of the second month of the new year, the Emperor Yon was sipping tea and fanning himself against a warm breeze when a servant ran across the scarlet and blue tiles calling, "O Emperor, a miracle." "Yes," the Emperor said, "the air is sweet this morning." "No, no, a miracle," said the servant, bowing quickly. "And this tea is good in my mouth. Surely that is a miracle." "No, no, your Excellency." "Let me guess, then. The sun has risen and a new day is upon us, or the sea is blue. That now is the finest of all miracles." "Excellency, a man is flying." "What?" The Emperor stopped his fan. So, what I want you guys to be doing while you read is just paying attention to some of the details, right? We get some of the details, the basics here from the start of the story. We know that it's taking place in AD 400, right? So more than 1,000 years ago. We know it's taking place in China, right? So that's our setting, right? Remember, the setting is our time and place. But we are picking up some other small things here as we go along, right? We see, for instance, that we have this Emperor Yon, who's our protagonist, by the way, and he has a very specific definition of what a miracle is, right? For him, the miracle is when the air is sweet, right? Or when the tea is good, or when the sun has risen and a new day is upon us, right? So that's something I want you to pick up as you read the beginning of this, right? That this guy thinks very simple things are miracles, right? The word miracle, of course, means something amazing and doesn't happen every day. If you have good tea, right, that's not, most people would not call good tea a miracle, but this emperor does say that's a miracle. So, uh, that's something we can pick up right away in this particular story. Now, give it a read over the weekend. We will. I will talk more about it on the next video, right? And once you've all read it, I will also give you the question, right? So that's going to be my system for the next week or so, right? First class, I'm going to give you a story. You're going to read it. You're going to get ready for it. And then the next class, I will ask a question and I'll give you the next story, right? And we'll do that until we've done 4 stories. Okay, so I hope you're all doing well. I hope you all have a wonderful long weekend, and I will see you all next time.